Yes, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is another Blue Morning show, and I hope everybody is doing well. I really do mean that. Today it is game day, a big game, a London derby, a game between one of our strongest, you could say, one of our, biggest enemies in London, if you want to put it that way. A game that could define the season for each of the clubs. If Arsenal usually when they see Chelsea, they be at their best. At this point, form is irrelevant. At this point, their bad run is irrelevant. And at this point for Chelsea, we must win this one to solidify our chances for top four. So don't go anywhere. We will talk about the game, and also we will do the predicted lineup. We'll get back to it. Yes, people, welcome back to Blue Morning Show. I hope you all are doing well. More importantly, Blue Morning to you all. Again, it is a London derby. It is a game day, a big one indeed. And Arsenal, whenever we play them, their form doesn't really matter. They are a different animal whenever they play us. And I'm happy to say that I have Lionel Jewel in the house with me. And if you haven't, please be sure to go check out Lionel Jewel's YouTube channel. Great content, always objective, and never do something because every other person is doing it. He always sticks with the truth, no matter the consequences. I'm saying that and laughing because I know why I'm saying that. Lionel, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Brilliant. I can't complain. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. What a day. What are your thoughts about today's game?
Oh, it's a tough one because, as you said, whenever we play Arsenal, their form doesn't really matter.
Mm,
I think what it was last season that they did the double on us. We did better in the first game against them, but I think that was the hype for the new season, and Lukaku had just come in, and
hmm
things were looking great. So I don't know. To be fair, against the last game we played in the FA Cup, we did look a bit leggy. I think maybe that was because of everything the team put out through against Real Madrid.
hmm
But I'm hoping that there's a few changes, like I don't know, Ziyech coming in, and just some fresher legs to kind of give us a bit of momentum. I hope the team is up for it, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we lost, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's one game that if I say I'm not nervous, I'd be lying. Because the fact is, again, like you've alluded to, and I've talked about it too. Whenever we play Arsenal, it's a different whole thing, game altogether. No matter if they've lost 20 games before us, but I'm hopeful this time we get a revenge of what they did to us last season. We beat them at home already, like you've mentioned. When Lukaku he arrived for his second stint. Hopefully, we beat them again today. But I know it's going to be a different ball game and a very difficult game to, But we'll see what happens. Let me quickly go through the chat, and I'll come back to the panel. It says, okay, again, congratulations to you. Yep. And he says, congrats to Fulham AFC on clinching the Premier League berth next season. As of yesterday, victory over Preston North End. Okay. Blue morning to you. And this is Big Up Bro says Ankit from Almighty Blues FC. A big up to you too. And please go check out Ankit's channel, Almighty Blues FC. Great content as usual. And great to have Lionel. Yes, always good to have him. He has that special voice that you could argue is reserved for our broadcaster, but I'm glad to have him here. He's always busy, but today, lucky for us, he's available. So, Lionel, you said something about Ziyech. It looks like you're hopeful that he's going to start.
Yeah, as you know, like we've had conversations before, Ziyech is like one of my top players, but I realize that every time I fully support a player, they they don't do as well. But
Yeah.
I'm still behind him. I'm still supportive. I think there's so much talent in him. I do understand that our formation doesn't necessarily work for his type of play, the type of player that he is. I think there's a lot of players in our team that this Tuchel formation doesn't really work for, so they have to adjust. And obviously, he's not getting as much time to adjust within the system because he'll play 2, 3 games, either get injured or
Mm.
Tuchel might change the players around. But yeah, I'm still fully behind Ziyech. I think he's actually one of the better players in our team, and yeah, hopefully he starts today. And he puts in some good crosses. I do think also Lukaku might start today, even though I would prefer Kai to continue because I think the relationship between Kai, Werner, and Mount is growing. And it looks like Werner is getting a bit more confidence when it comes to playing with those two because he knows them so well. But yeah, hopefully we see Ziyech come through today and do what we know he can, which I'm always hopeful for.
Here's the thing. I don't want to bust your bubble, but here's the thing. He's not been playing of late, and it's not like he's injured. It's not like he was sick. Just all of a sudden, when we thought he's back at it, he's creating chances, scoring goals, and he's improved in terms of that's the defensive aspect of the game. He's been doing quite well. It really also has done quite well. All of a sudden, he just drops to the bench, and it's not been back for about 4 games now or 5 games. What do you think happened? Because the truth is, there's something you mentioned. He's special, and again something he brings to our team. No other player in the team can rival him. Shooting from outside the box. His passes from wherever he is, he can
Yeah.
orchestrate great passes, and he adds so much pace to his passes that before the opposition defense realizes what's going on, the ball gets to its intended destination. So why do you think he's not been playing?
I think it's two things. Number one, I think it's there's been a big lack of consistency in our attack. This whole season with Lukaku coming in, obviously they needed to be some changes. But I think when it comes to, I think if you look at the top teams, if you look at Liverpool and you look at Man City and
Mm,
Bayern Munich, they have a consistency in their front line. There's players that for sure will be there every single time. And I think because there's so many things that have happened this season around Chelsea Football Club with COVID, with
mm,
injuries, there's been a lack of consistency in the players that play. And I think what Thomas Tuchel has tried to do, especially after the international break, is try and keep that consistency. So I don't think he necessarily has an issue with Lukaku playing because if he's putting Werner, who's missing, big chances into every game, I don't think that's the problem that he has with Lukaku. But I think he's trying to go with the consistency of having Havertz, Werner, and Mount up front to kind of get them to gel. And I think that's where Ziyech has kind of fallen to the wayside because that he doesn't kind of fit part of that that constant three that he wants to play with up front. And also, I think the second part is when Ziyech is on the pitch and there's no target man to aim at, especially when he has the ball, on the wings or tries to cross, and it's either Havertz that's there or Werner, who are players that move around a lot. He doesn't have someone specifically to aim for. So a big part of his game is taken out because he's not allowed. Well, not that he's not allowed, but he has no one to target in the box most of the times with these crosses, which is a big part of Ziyech's game. This is what made him famous at Ajax, and this is what we were hoping to see more of at Chelsea. And unfortunately, we haven't gotten to see that because of other factors. But I do think like I said, I do think that there is something special that he brings. I mean, even if you look at him defensively, it seems like he's worked very hard defensively and trying to be in those positions and make our defense more safe when he plays as a wing back. So I think there's still a lot that Ziyech can give us, but circumstances, especially in the season, have made it hard for him to kind of keep going.
Honestly, I have to tell you this. You sound like you're Thomas Tuchel's lawyer. You've done quite a good job defending him. I must tell you that. Honestly, I'd say I'd start him over either of the two A's because he brings us something different. And you can say with him on the pitch, we still have fluidity. It's not like we lose that. With him on the pitch, we have even more. We have, the ability. We have someone with the ability to score from outside the 18. Yes, Mason Mount does that, but how often does he do it? Ziyech can do it even more often than Mason can do it. But I'm not saying he should replace Ziyech. I'm just saying it's just surprising how all of a sudden he was dropped out of the team. That surprised me quite a lot. I'm going to go through the chat and I'm going to come to you again. It says Ziyech is bad. How do you mean Ziyech is bad? I don't know that. Again, that's your opinion. And True Blue says, who was the target man when he played his crossfield pass to Mount at West Ham United to volley home? Again, that's that question for you because you started this fight. You were sounding like you're fighting for Thomas Tuchel. Yeah, it's your. That question is for you, Lionel.
You see, the thing is, there is always players that he can target. What I'm talking about, a specific target man, is he's a creature of habit. So if Ziyech has that constant number 9 that he knows, he learns his movements. Because to be a very good crosser, you need to know how your players move. If we look at Trent at Liverpool, Trent is amazing at crossing. And that's one part of his game, but he knows the movement of Salah, the movements of Mane, the movements of Jota. He understands the movement, so he can place the ball wherever they need to be when he knows how they're going to run forward and how they're going to get in those spaces. So I think, yes, he didn't specifically have number 9 in that match, and there's a lot of matches where he doesn't have the number 9, but he still picks out the crosses. But it doesn't happen as often because he doesn't have someone that's there constantly, and that was my point.
Yeah, okay, all right. I understood your point, but I just wanted you to continue with the fight because you were the one that started. But that's, by the way, who else do you think that hasn't played for a while? Do you think that will start this game, or do you think it's important that we start?
I think it's important that we keep the same team. I think that there's players that I would wish that would leave Chelsea actually at the end of the season that I don't want to see anywhere near a Chelsea game. But I think we should try and keep some sort of consistency. Obviously, Kovacic is out. We're not sure how long that's going to be. I think he's been one of the outstanding players at Chelsea this season. And, Jorginho, again, if we look at the Crystal Palace game, there's some points where he got caught out because he was taking too many touches. And I think, that I think Jorginho looks like he's at the end of his run. I understand that sometimes he has revivals and he becomes the best center mid in the world again, but I think Jorginho is getting to the point where we're looking at the end. But I'm sure he's going to play because Kovacic is out, or have him and N'Golo Kante in there. But to say that there's a player that's been out that I would like to see, hopefully, we get to see Lukaku. Maybe he can bully his way through the Arsenal defense like he did the first time around, and that's about it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go through the chat again, and if you have any questions for us as we progress, please do ask your questions and we'll try to address it. This says at Ajax, he often found Tadic, who played wide left, or sometimes Quincy Promise when he was because I think he had the best chemistry with Quincy Promise, if you ask me. But that again, that's me. I don't watch too many Ajax game. I think my friend Stav, I wish he was here to answer the question. I think Quincy Promise. I think he had the best chemistry with Quincy Promise. Your thoughts, Lionel?
Yeah, but that's exactly it. He got to know Quincy Prom like they know each other, like they know
Mm-hmm.
the movements. You understand the movements, and that only happens when you play constantly. Number one, you're in the team constantly, and number two, you're playing constantly with the same players. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's like I don't know how many times I have to try and make this point, but that's the point. The point is consistency. Having number one, a target that is consistent, that you know their moves, you know how they run, you know what type of runs they like to make, and number two, being in the team long enough to understand how your own movement helps the team going forward.
I think what you said about consistency right now just it brings to mind how you know detrimental rotation has been to to our players developing proper chemistry and understanding each other very well. Yes, the argument will be we need to rotate because we have so many games to play, but we didn't. I didn't think. I don't think we worked towards achieving some measure of consistency in the team by playing plays. Like I think Ziyech unnecessarily, I think, was dropped out of the team. I think he should have maintained his place, given that he can bring us goals. He can also create chances. Your thoughts on how, rotation has affected the consistency of the players and chemistry, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Tuchel, he's had to make those rotation, especially December. December for us was one of the most horrible months so far under Thomas Tuchel, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that, happened with the COVID, players having COVID. Injuries and so forth. So it's understandable that the rotation needs to happen. But I think a lot of the times, because players like Lukaku come in, who is a big money signing, and this is why I think I remember having a conversation with you before we signed Lukaku, and we were talking about Haaland over Lukaku and all of that. And I said, and I remember saying that I would rather go into the season with a misfiring Timo Werner, with Kai
Mm-hmm.
Havertz, and wait it out and compete for Haaland signing instead of getting Lukaku, because I don't think he was going to fit into the system, and
Yeah.
it just hasn't worked. It hasn't worked, and we've wasted a lot of money and a lot of time, because now Lukaku has to be, had to be at the beginning, had to be pushed into this front three, had to be, part of this team because he was such a big money signing. I think the sanctions on Roman Abramovich have actually helped Tuchel to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to bench Lukaku because I don't think that it's working, and he's not getting much backlash from it because, one, we're still winning, yes, but at the same time, people are so focused on the what do you call it, the sanctions and the new club owners coming in, so no one's really paying attention to Lukaku's issue. And to be honest, I think a lot of Chelsea fans just don't care. We've seen him play, we've seen what he gives to the team, and we look at a youngster like Havertz, we look at what Timo Werner, even though he keeps missing so many sitters, but the work ethic that he gives this team it's unmatched. I think if you look at work ethic, there's probably Azpilicueta and Timo Werner that are at the top of the list at Chelsea Football Club. So yeah.
Yeah, and the fans appreciate that. And I have to tell you the truth, I haven't forgotten that video we made together when we talked about the price tag on Erling Haaland. I will never forget that your argument. And you also made a subsequent video saying why it was a bad idea signing Lukaku. But that's, by the way, we're not here to talk about him today. The truth is, he's created more problems than he can solve for us. Okay, let's look at this man on the screen. Your thoughts? Do you think he gets a chance to start today, given that Kovacic will not be playing? But the fact remains, he's not like for like in terms of. I think Kovacic, you could argue defensively, will do a better job than him. But in terms of progressing the ball and dribbling, his way out of tight spaces. I think you could argue they are a bit the same in that aspect. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ruben. I think that he lacks confidence, and I think Thomas Tuchel has mentioned that in previous conversations about Ruben. I think he is one of those players. He's elegant on the ball. He's able to beat one, two, three midfielders, defenders. He is excellent in most positions that you play him in. I mean, you look at his performance against Madrid. Yes, I do think that the Benzema goal in extra time, he could have done better to get close to Vinicius, but I
Vinny,
understand that. Yeah, but
yeah,
I understand that players
probably
were
was
tired
tired.
at that point. Yeah,
Mm.
it happens. It happens. But I think that Ruben is an amazing player. His goal against Crystal Palace just shows, what he can do, how he played that match, how he controlled that midfield. And I think if he's able to do that in bigger games, in games against Arsenal, games against Liverpool and bigger teams, then we will see the Ruben Loftus-Cheek that we've all known, that all the potential that we know that he has. So I hope that he does start today. I hope that he can give us, because one, I think it's important for us to have that midfielder that can take the ball and move it forward, like Kovacic does. And I think, Ruben has that ability. Like you said, defensively, it's not as great, but a lot of the times, Kovacic also gets lost in, he puts in a tackle and gets a yellow card and has to be mindful of himself because sometimes, it looks a bit reckless, these tackles. So hopefully he does start and, yeah, we see a great performance again. I think he just needs to go from strength to strength, and he has a good foundation to carry on.
Yeah, he really does have a good foundation to build on because he has such a good technique on him. And again, something you mentioned that is important. Let me ask you this: what do you think? What, from your perspective, what do you think we miss whenever Kovacic isn't playing?
Yeah, it's that driving force. I think a lot of the time when Kovacic is not there, it's more of a passing game than a player taking on players. For example, what's his name? Pulisic. I think part of the reason why we got Pulisic to Chelsea was because when Hazard left, we understood that we needed a footballer that is able to carry the ball, that is able to beat defenders, that is able to, be that guy that can hold the ball and do things and create. And he
Mm-hmm.
just hasn't been that person. Yes, he did have a stint after, after COVID, like the big COVID break. He did have a good, amount of games where he played very well, but he just hasn't been that. And Kovacic has been that for us, And Ruben Loftus-Cheek is that person when Kovacic is not around. Because as much as N'Golo Kante tries to do it, I think N'Golo is not as technically gifted as Kovacic or a Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So it's important that we have that in the team. So instead of passing from left to right for 20 odd minutes and having the most possession and not doing anything with it, we have a player that takes the control of the ball, takes control of the moment, moves forward and tries to create. And that's what's missing when Kovacic is not there. And hopefully we can ask that from Ruben when he is playing.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think he's been our savior when opponents oppress us aggressively because he's press resistant. It doesn't matter how many players you have on him. On his day, he would dribble his way out and still progress the ball. So that's important. And I want to take that opportunity to say welcome to the panel to Nick. Nick, how are you doing? Okay, we can hear Nick, and with that, I'm going to quickly breeze through the chat because this is an interactive show. And before I do that, please, we have about 25 people watching, and we have just 17 likes. Please, if you can, I'd appreciate it if you can take just a few seconds and click on the like button. When you do that, it triggers the YouTube algorithm, and the stream will be pushed to more people that will be interested in this particular topic. And also, if you haven't, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. That will go a long way for us. So let me quickly go through the chat again. This is okay. This is the question you've addressed. That at a Yaxi often found Tadic, who played us when I talked about Quincy Promise. Ziyech is a volume of player, meaning he plays high risk passes. Maybe out of 50 passes, one will be a key pass, but at what cost? He's a player that constantly gives the ball away.
Can I just say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this whole notion of he plays 50 passes and one will be decisive is a horrible, horrible way to think about a footballer and how he plays, especially an attacking footballer. At the level that Chelsea football plays constantly, Champions League, Premier League title race, FA Cups, we cannot have a player losing the ball 50 times and once getting it right. I think that's honestly like a ludicrous statement, and I don't understand why this has kind of been put into how Ziyech plays and what makes him a good footballer. Anyway, that's just my opinion.
I don't think that comment is true. He'd be out of Chelsea if that's the case. He's actually been one of our best players. Even in his worst day, he's still, you can see he's still got something special in him. And why hasn't his passes worked that much? Because our players don't make good runs, if you ask me. There was a time he was trying it. I think the only person that was close to that he developed that good chemistry with was Ben Chilwell, and he got a goal from it. The pass was so good that one of them, Chilwell didn't even need to lift his leg. The ball hit him on his laps and went into the goalpost. I don't know if you recall the goal I'm talking about. That's how accurate his passes are, but you'd have to make that run. And if you make that run, he will see you. Nick, can you hear me now? Welcome back to the panel.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I'll go through the chat and I'll come back to you again. And this is Ray Allen saying more turnover is bad for Chelsea. It is a position based team. Against that's your argument. He combined with Tadic and Promise, neither outright target men. He often found Van de Beek arriving from midfield or Gravenberch. Yeah, he's that good. Haaland going to Man City. Good luck to him there. Let's see how that works out. And who knows how much they're paying for him, but probably quite a lot of money, but I don't want to know. I think we're good. Blessings on Coachila and the child. Blue morning to you, Bobby Fairview. I hope you're doing well. Big up, brother. Big up, my fellow American Jose. How are you doing? It's been quite a while. Nice to see you here. And example, FA Cup, 3 stats. Forget his goal, 13 chances created. That's hardly one game. Thank you very much for highlighting that, True Blue. And Ray Allen says, Jorginho Loftus-Cheek going to start tonight against Jorginho Loftus-Cheek again. He says, good morning, blue morning to you, Declad. How are you doing? I hope you're good. Eric Blue says, hello to you, Eric Blue. How are you doing? And this is a big up to you, Tobago. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're good, brother. Hit the like button, people. Please do that. Please do that. We should have up to 30 likes by now, and we have just 19 likes. We can do better than that. And Tobago is saying, I won't be long. I'm feeling dizzy. Just got injection. I have been good lately. I haven't been good lately. Sorry to hear that, brother. I hope you get better. My brother from the Madiba land. Always good to see you here. Plus, okay, you haven't told me anything about that, but sorry to hear that if you lost a loved one. So sorry to hear that. It's never good news for that to happen to anybody. So I'm going to come back to the panel in a bit. In the 30-minute mark or 35th minute mark, I'll add the link to the panel in the chat. Says Tobago, hope you feel better now, bro. Yeah, it's important. Please ask him. Coming back to the panel, Nick, your thoughts on Ziyech. Do you think he starts today?
Yeah, it's possibility he might start today. Ziyech, I like Ziyech, but it's just he has in and out performances. It's not constant enough.
But of late, Nick, if you don't mind, it's not like he's injured. It's not like he's been performing badly. He was our best player in a few games before he was dropped to the bench. So go ahead, but go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, when I saw him against Real Madrid at home, he was very poor, and he hasn't been good either. All right, maybe because he's been dropped to the bench, and when he comes on, he's not himself. I know he has to prove a lot to me. He's not on it at all. But maybe he will start today because Werner's got a slight injury, so he could well start with or Pulisic. Be either him or Pulisic, I think, with Havertz Mount. So it could well give him a chance. But I think more likely Pulisic for me. I prefer Pulisic instead of Ziyech tonight.
But go ahead. Why do you prefer Pulisic?
So just a big up to Tobago. He lost his stepdad recently.
I'm just seeing that. I was asking what's happened. Sorry. Condolences to your family, and may the soul of your stepdad rest in peace. Sorry to hear that. It's never a nice thing to lose a loved one. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so big up to Tobago. He has to get over it. It's not easy. Yeah, for me, I think it's going to be Pulisic, Mount, and Havertz for me.
Okay, we'll see. We'll build the lineup. Let's not give it away. But let me ask you this: Ziyech, he did not start against Madrid at home.
No, he came on later, Ziyech.
Yeah, but it's only I wouldn't judge him with that game if you ask me.
Yeah, but when he came on, he was very wasteful. But mind you, all our attack was that day. So I can't just blame Ziyech. I like him. I wish he can, get the form he had for Ajax. He was unbelievable. That's what we bought him for. When he scored against us from the corner flag, free kick. Why doesn't he do it for us? That's I don't know why. It's just
okay. Let me go to Lionel. Lionel, a question for you. What do you think about Nick's argument that he prefers Pulisic over Ziyech in this game?
Nick, unfortunately, I have to highly disagree with you. I honestly, and this might be a hot take, but I honestly think Pulisic is the worst player we have in attack. And I'll tell you why. Every time Pulisic either starts a match or gets onto the pitch, our attack becomes worse than it was before he got. I am it even angers me talking about Pulisic right now because I think that there was so much potential. When we bought Pulisic, we gave him the number 10 because I'm a traditionalist. I still think that numbers are important. And we gave him the number 10, and he is honestly the worst part of our attack, apart from Lukaku coming in. He looks like a player with lack of confidence. He doesn't know how to move forward. I mean, the Pulisic that played against Arsenal in the FA Cup final, that ran through the defense while having a hamstring injury, is not the same Pulisic we're looking at today. And for me, honestly, he's just not. He's not cutting it.
Yeah, he has to be much better for me. And Pulisic, he's not the age of Ziyech is. He's still young, Pulisic. I think he's got a lot to show yet, Pulisic, and he will come good. All right, if he can stop all these injuries he gets, Pulisic is a top player. And he's the one. He won't be. There's more chance of Ziyech leaving than Pulisic next year,
which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because we know why.
It's very unfortunate.
Yeah,
we understand that he's Mr. America and he's here to wave the American flag to the English public. But I just honestly, I think Pulisic. I don't have the words, but we will have to just see how we do moving forward.
You have to say, look at Timo Werner. Timo Werner can turn it around, so can Pulisic. All attack this year haven't been great.
They all can, but how? How long will it take them? That's the question.
Depends. Havertz came good at the end of the season part. He comes good now, always, every year. At the beginning, he's cold. Let's see if he can change and have a great season next year. Lukaku.
Okay.
Isn't this Pulisic's third season at Chelsea though?
Lukaku has lost all confidence, as we know, but I'll still give him a chance to the end of the season to prove himself to us.
We'll see. The good thing about our squad is that we have a big squad, even though they're all not consistent. None of them is consistent. One underperforms, the other comes into play. So I'm going to go through the chat, and we'll come back to talk about the next player, because we have it is in segments. We'll go talk about each individual, whether they should start today. Then we'll go into building the lineup, and then we'll talk about what to expect in the game. I have this. That's okay. And then it says, Pulisic is poor. It says, I'll be back later, my Niger brother. Always nice to see you here, Rick Blue. I hope you're doing well, bro. If you're at work, no problem. I understand. I know you always support your brother whenever you have time. It's not been the same since that injury. Exactly. And that's the same thing you can argue is happening to Loftus-Cheek. It's not been the same since his injury. Same as Callum Hudson-Odoi. Something looks like they come back. Whenever players come back from serious injuries, they do miss something. And that's where I'm concerned with the case of Ben Chilwell. Your thoughts, Lionel?
Again, this is because I was very wrong about Ben Chilwell when we bought Ben Chilwell. I wasn't a fan. I think he has proven me wrong, especially in what he brings to the team, and especially now that he's out of the team. I keep praying that somehow he makes it back into the team before the end of the season. I hope for his sake. I think the thing is, a lot of them, it's a fear of repeating the same injury, and that's why when they come back, they're a bit less, enthusiastic about getting into challenges and putting their foot, in 50-50s. Hopefully, Ben Chilwell, because of his position and because of the way we play, can kind of shrug that off and put his best foot forward. But I hope that when he comes back, and it is going to take him a while to be confident and able to defend the way that he did before. But I hope for his sake that he comes back and he's just as amazing as he was, before
he got injured. Yeah, Nick, your thoughts on how injuries affect players after that is how affect the performance of players, especially serious injuries such as that of Ben Chilwell. Okay, I think Nick is away from his phone. I'm going to go through the chat and then I'll come back to you again. It says, I think this comment here, none of our wingers can beat a man 1-versus-1, not decisive enough to play for Chelsea. Again, I think this argument is something I've talked about for a while. It's not, they can, but not as often as possible. Sometimes they take the easy way out, which is to go backwards or sideways. I think a lot of majority of the players in our squad need space to operate. Your thoughts on that, Lionel?
Yeah, which is, and I also think the way that we play, the kind of way we attack is it's not conducive for a player that wants to take on players, because when we lose the ball in certain areas, when it's very dangerous, because we're left basically with three defenders, who are Rudiger, either Thiago Silva or whoever else is on the right, and it puts us in a very bad position. So I think that's why a lot of players choose to rather pass the ball and try and do these intricate pass moves to get into a scoring opportunity rather than take on plays in case they lose it. That's just me from what I see. I don't know exactly what it is, obviously, but that's just what it looks like. I hope that, and this was the hope for Pulisic, because when we were going through a bad time and Hazard was there, we always knew that it only took like one move, one moment for him to get that ball, beat 1-2 defenders and create those spaces. And we're lacking that. We're missing that. And Mount is trying, but I don't think, again, Mount is as, good at dribbling as, a Pulisic should be or a Hazard was, and it's important that we have that in the team, and we just don't.
Yeah, I think you make a good argument there. And before we continue, I want to say I think we're doing well so far with the likes. We have 26 likes. We have around 30 people watching, so that's good. Please, but if you haven't, be sure to smash the like button. That goes a long way for us. If anybody says to pay, tell them I already paid for you. And if you haven't, also subscribe to the channel. And I want to also urge you to please go check out Lionel Jewell's YouTube channel. Great content. And again, always objective. And that's why I am friends and brother with him. And also follow Nick, follow Lionel Jewell also on Twitter, and of course, Chelsea Perspective. So I'm going to go through the chat again. So I want to start with this one that you can say naturally introduces us to the next topic. He says, Werner hasn't turned it around yet. He's far from justifying his price and wages, and Lukaku is far gone. And even if he turns it on and now, I still don't want him. No point of going on missing when we need you. Your thoughts, let's talk about this man on the screen line now. Do you think he's turned this around, or do you think do you still need to see more to be convinced?
Before the Southampton game, I think it was, when they played Madrid, and I almost gave up on. Well, I did actually. I remember tweeting like I've given up on Timo Werner. I've been a big supporter of Timo Werner. I think again he's one of those players that that has the talent, that has exactly what we need in this Chelsea team, but it's just not coming off. I think his confidence has been shot big time, and this is what happens to most strikers at Chelsea who don't perform like a Diego Costa or Didier Drogba. If we do look back at Drogba's first seasons at Chelsea, they weren't great either. But he eventually got to the point, even after fans started to kind of turn on Drogba, he was still there to kind of, push himself. And, at some points he wanted to leave himself. And this is the same thing we're hearing from Timo Werner, Lukaku, and so on and so forth. Obviously, my number one thing is I'm a Chelsea Football Club fan. I love Chelsea. So if a player can go from being, as bad as Timo Werner has been in the past and turn it around, then I'm all for it. Has he turned it around? I think he's giving signs that it's possible. I think that with a lot more opportunities, and especially with teams that don't have this, low block, that want to come out and play, like a match that we're going to have with Arsenal, I think, later on today. I think that, with more games like that, he can prove himself. I think he's important in games with the likes of Man City and Liverpool, because he can make those runs in behind. I mean, if we look at last season, when Tuchel came in and we played against Liverpool at Anfield, he was making those runs in behind. Yes, he was unlucky to be offside by a horrible VAR call, but that's what he gives the team that maybe Lukaku doesn't. So I would be happy to see Timo Werner stay. I think he still has the time to kind of build himself up, and I think Thomas Tuchel, as much as it hasn't worked so far, I hope that he can bring that confidence back out into Timo Werner, and we see the player that we bought.
I think, like you say, like you've alluded to, there are signs that he's back, and it didn't just start now. Remember, I think a few games before he got injured, or was it COVID that derailed him again? He started doing well again and looked rejuvenated. But again, he's looked rejuvenated. He looks high on confidence. And after the Southampton game, people were arguing that he scored majority of his goals for Chelsea against Southampton and that it was going to be a one-off thing. No, he followed it up with another good performance against Real Madrid with a very beautiful goal also. And he followed it up again with another good performance. Long may that continue. And the good thing you talked about that makes Timo Werner very different is that he never gives up. He keeps working even when things aren't going his way. That's where he's different from Romelu Lukaku. Nick, you wanted to say something before I read. Go ahead. Address this comment on the screen and then go through the chat.
Well, let's talk about Timo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Do you want to see more, or do you think you think he's turned things around?
Understand, declare what you say, because he gets crazy wages, very high wages, and all season he's played 3 or 4 good games. That's not good enough. All right, he's been good in the last 3 games, especially Southampton and against Crystal Palace. He was very good. Yeah, I think, he has to get a second chance. I don't want him to go yet, like Declare wants him to go. But I think he should get a chance next season so he can prove, what the money that Chelsea are paying him. He has to live up to that. If he doesn't, then sell him in the January window. He has to, like with Lukaku, you can't just play them, keep them forever. If they don't come good, you have to get rid of them in the end. As much as I love Lukaku and Werner, but, I'm willing to give them to another chance next season, really.
Here's the thing about Werner. What's different this time is that I don't think he's ever done it like 4 games in a row, or even 3 games in a row. Has he, Lionel?
No, I don't think so. I think, you see, carry on.
Yeah, it really does look different this time. It looks different this time. Long may that continue. So I'm going to quickly go.
2 games, coach.
Sorry?
It's only the last 3 games.
That's what I'm saying. It's different this time. This season, this performance is showing that is his putting up this time is different. He's never, even on different Lampard, there's never a time you can say he went 4 games or even 3 games in a row that you don't go, ouch, what kind of misses is this? Why did we buy this guy? But this time, about 4 games now or 3 games in a row now, he's been brilliant. So that hasn't happened before. So maybe it's a good sign, but I'll come back to you. Yeah, go ahead.
We bought him to score goals, and he hasn't scored enough this year so far. That's still not enough. But it's up to Tuchel. If Tuchel wants to get rid of him, I won't be crying. But I will give him another season.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Ray Allen says when a player comes back from a serious injury and don't perform, just sell them, keeping them a liability. This is not good. This is not good. This is not how you treat people. I have to be honest with you, Ray. I love you, but I have to be truthful to you. Because if you treat players like that, when you go to sign another player, because if you do it to 2 or 3 players, it becomes a habit, and players will start talking about it. And then other players you'd want to sign, bring to the club, will see it and will be well aware of it. When you go to them to say you want to join Chelsea, they say no. After all, there are unions. There are unions that will even start talking about it. Lionel, your thoughts on this comment on the screen?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, if you look at Loftus-Cheek and what was his name? Musunda? I forget the
Charlie Musanda.
Yeah, who had a horrible injury, and throughout his rehabilitation, he stayed at Chelsea. Chelsea did everything they could possible for him to get back to, being the player that he is. And I think that shows good spirit from the Chelsea board and the Chelsea, the staff around the club, that they are able to, stick with a player. Even though at the end he did leave, I think it would have been hard for him to get into this first team, and he was getting a bit older. So it makes sense, but I think players should be looked after as much as possible before they're given the boot because of an injury.
Yeah, but I agree with you. They're humans. And don't forget, again, Ray, they have a union. And this is a hilarious comment from Ray regarding my comments about majority of our players needing space to operate. If they need a space to operate, then Chelsea need a new stadium with a bigger field. Stamford Bridge has a small field. Okay, that's by the way. But give Werner a chance, people. It's a different world for him, and he is getting there. Thank you very much, Dina Osman. That is a very good comment. And he's already, I think, if you ask me, I'd argue that he's at the doorstep of the place you're talking about. And hopefully he steps in fully and stays there. And that's what we're praying for, because he's been brilliant of late. Ray says Werner had his chances He's not good enough. Zero technical ability. Once his pace is gone, he's useless. We'll see what happens. Again, it's up to the manager to decide whether he wants to keep a player or not. Alan, best buy a whole new team. Yeah, exactly. That's the comment you get for saying we should sell players because they got injured. I don't think that comment is good. If you ask me, if you want Chelsea to win the league and Champions League, then yes, we need a new 11. How is that going to happen? But you think they are all crap, so won't get much. So how do we buy so many players? Again, yep, Man City and Liverpool has two teams. Again, Werner goes nowhere. Lukaku might have to bounce if he cannot stop sulking. Nick, I'll start with you before I go to Lionel.
Yeah, that's good comment from Mikel there. You know, he has to get on with it. When it comes on, he has to show more energy, more enthusiasm. You know, he has to show he wants to play for the club. At the moment, he's not showing nothing. So, yeah, he's going to go. In the end, they're going to find a way to get rid of him if it doesn't come good. You know, they can't just keep him, like I said about Werner. Lukaku, for me, he's going to show till the end of the season. He's going to get his chances. He might even start tonight. We don't know. So if he gets a chance, he has to show it. I like Lukaku. I know what he can do. But, it's just not showing it with us at the moment.
Yeah.
I really want
Go ahead.
to say, start scoring. And when we bring Broja back next year, we have two number 9s. We can rotate, Because there's no one out there. We ain't going to go out there and buy a new number 9. No chance.
Yeah, that's not how to waste money.
Yeah. We're not going to take that chance again. It was a emotional signing because the Roman son wanted Lukaku, really. Anyone, it was his son. So I don't think Chelsea will do that again. But,
yeah, that's a huge mistake. Again, if you ask me, that's one of the things I like the new owners to change. But that's, by the way, I'm not going to give something I want. But that's we'll talk about that later. Lionel, your thoughts on this, your brother on the screen. What do you think?
I think most people know what I think about Lukaku. From the beginning, I was against the signing. I think when you look at his attributes and how he plays and what type of person he seems to portray that he is, I don't think he's right. I think he has the same attitude as Pogba at United, which is such a shame because I think Pogba is also another player who's amazingly talented, but his attitude is ruining his football career because they think that they owed something. I think Lukaku, because of his seasons at Inter Milan, he came to Chelsea feeling like he didn't have to work for anything, that we were just gonna, put balls on the plate for him so that he can finish them off or play the way that he wanted, that Thomas Tuchel was going to change his whole ideology, the ideology that won him the Champions League to kind of fit Lukaku into the system, and it just has not worked. And Lukaku is not the player that Chelsea needs. I don't care how much time we give him. I don't care how much matches we give him. Lukaku will not turn it around. He cannot turn it around because of his attitude towards, first of all, his teammates, the game, when he's not. I like to look at his body language when he's on the pitch, and if he's not getting, the deliveries that he specifically wants, then he throws a tantrum, and it puts the rest of the players off their balance. I don't even think a lot of the players like playing with Lukaku. I think whenever Lukaku's off the field, you see more passion from guys like Mount, the guys in the middle. You see the passes that Jorginho makes to Kai Havertz. If you look at the game against Newcastle, that last minute goal, that pass from Jorginho, we haven't seen that towards Lukaku, and I think there's a reason. And I think he's disrupting the dressing room with his attitude, and I wouldn't mind seeing him gone, to be honest.
Nick, do you agree he's causing an issue in the dressing room? Because it looks like it a bit. It looks like
he's not that. It's not that bad. Was it Lionel? Lionel, you all were doing it. I think he's not causing. In the dressing room, he's with the players. You can see when they're all together, they're together. You can't say he's not. He's not. The players don't want him, or it's not like that. It's his confidence. He's lost his confidence. And it looks like that on the pitch, yeah. But
Lukaku's a senior. Lukaku's a senior player. If a senior player behaves the way,
Lukaku's a top player. Don't forget that.
But he hasn't proven. He has a whole season. He flopped. He barely made it at Everton. He barely made it at Everton. He barely made it at.
Go ahead, Lionel. Let's hear what Nick has to say. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, well, look, every time I talk, everyone has to come in. I don't talk when you're talking. I just want to say how.
Yeah, just go ahead, Nick. Just go ahead. He was trying to respond to something. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look, it's not like you think he is. The players, of course, they your teammates, they want. It's not like you're saying they don't want him, or it's nothing like that. The problem is, it's a system. Lukaku is a, counter-attacking player. He's a traditional number 9, and that's what he does. That's him. We can't change that. It's up to Tuchel to change that if he wants to next season, not us. And it doesn't. The system we play doesn't suit him, but it doesn't mean he's a bad player. Far from it. He's a world-class.
Go ahead when you're done.
No, I haven't finished yet. Yeah, and all this Lukaku hate going on with the Chelsea fan base, it's rubbish. They haven't got a clue. Because while, he can turn it around next year and they'll be going, oh, yeah, well, look at Lukaku, brilliant. That's what's going to happen. All players go bad confidence, bad times. There's no one, on earth as a professional footballer who doesn't go through bad times. Even Ronaldo, anyone does. So don't dismiss him completely out that they don't want to play with him. That's rubbish.
Okay, here's the question I have for you, Nick. You said about him being a counter-attacking player.
Yeah, he's a traditional number 9. He's Havertz runs, further down, runs more than Lukaku.
That's where the problem lies. That's where you can argue that it's never going to work at Chelsea because we're never going to turn into a counter-attacking team all the time. We do counter, but that's when that is opposition presses and we get our honors and we get a chance. We go on a break, but that doesn't happen all the time because we like to keep the ball. So we prefer a number 9 who gets involved in the play. When we're not countering, he's still be important. That's the issue. He doesn't just suit the way we play. Nobody hates him. But I know most people are calling him name, and that's not okay.
No, you're wrong. There's so many people who hate him and still call him stupid names.
Do we hate him here? We don't hate him here. We're just saying, being objective, that he's not going to work for us.
Not here, but everywhere else, you do get a lot of, even from panelists like yourself, not you. I don't want to mention them, but they do call him stupid names. And they're supposed to be a host, So, yeah, Lukaku has lost his confidence completely. He's taking him more time. Maybe he gets it back, maybe he doesn't. And like I said, I'll back to...
All right, no problem. I'll come back to the panel again. Let me quickly go through the chat. We have, it says, do you think... Yes, let's talk about this one. It says, do you think Roma would swap him for Tammy Abraham? Here's the thing.
That's rubbish, man.
I'm going to say this to the hearing of everybody. I'm coming, Nick.
Abraham with Lukaku.
I'm coming. Tammy Abraham may well be Lukaku 2.0.
No, he's nowhere near.
I'm just coming. I'll come to you, Nick.
Italy, because there's no top defenders out there.
I'll come to you, Nick. I'll come to you.
I don't want to know. Tammy Abraham is a typing merchant, and he was rubbish, and I'm glad he's gone. I don't want him back at Chelsea.
Yeah, I'll come to you. We'll talk about it. Say again, Tammy Abraham may well be Lukaku 2.0, firing on all cylinders in Italy. The moment he comes back to Chelsea, boom, a different ball game. I want to start with you, Lionel. What do you think about this suggestion on the screen?
The fact that Nick is saying that Tammy Abraham is only really good in Italy and he's a tap-in merchant is funny, because that's literally where Lukaku rose up again as this world-class striker that everyone is calling him. He flopped seriously bad at Man United, and he was more than average at Everton, and an Everton team that played with a focal number 9, and that worked for them. Lukaku is not a world-class striker. I don't put Lukaku in the same sentence as a Lewandowski, as even an Erling Haaland, as young as he is. Lukaku is not world-class. Lukaku played well, like you said, in a league where there's no top defenders. And that's exactly the same thing that's happening with Tammy Abraham. But Tammy Abraham fits into the Chelsea team. I'm not saying Tammy is better than Lukaku. I'm saying he fits. His attributes fit better into the Chelsea team than Lukaku does. Because Tammy Abraham, if there's one thing we know about Tammy Abraham, is he will work for that ball. He will run, he will chase, he will do whatever he needs to do and be in the right places to finish those things off. I actually regret the fact that we sold Tammy Abraham to Roma, because I think that that's a player that, with the right surroundings, with the right people around him, would have, even if he didn't become a world-class striker, he would be much better to Chelsea Football Club than Lukaku will ever be. Lukaku is a waste of money, he's a waste of time, and he is never coming right.
All right, I'm going to go through the chat, and I'll come back to Nick with another question. Here it says, again, to me, I don't think both players, I think, because they both have some deficiencies that I think. Yeah, but I think like you argued, what Tammy Abraham would give you is hard work, given that he's Chelsea. He works hard very well. But both, I think, they're some type of player in terms of the way they finish. I think they're poachers, if you want to phrase it that way, or tapping merchants, if you want to phrase it that way. But that's, by the way. Here's Hollisworth saying, I don't agree selling players because they are injured. Yes, that's not a good idea. That makes us a bad club. And I don't think it would be good for us, because other players will be looking at us, and when we go to sign them, they will not listen to us. Werner, who plays this good though? Okay, yeah, they just changed like the weather in the UK. Again, says that Tammy is not good enough for Chelsea. Tuchel don't rate him. And again, that's another point. Tuchel doesn't rate him. You made a good, again, ventriloquist again. How do you think we get a work permit? And again, this is a work permit can be obtained. And again, it's not everything here. If you have any question for us that you want us to address, please do ask it. I'd be glad to. Lukaku is just unlucky at this point. Bless him. His confidence dropped. That's another point. And again, not even confident. I don't think he works hard enough, if you ask me. That's another thing that we don't want to see. Barkley is world class. Okay, I don't want to go into the fight these guys are, going at each other there. Bakayoko is world class. That is an argument I don't want to get to. and let me say, I'll start with you, Nick. What do you think about Marcos Alonso's performance so far? And do you think he starts this one?
Yes, why not? Yeah, Alonso, I don't know why, me, I've never called him silly names or said he's a bad player, because, all right, he can't defend. We all know that. He's not as fast as Chilwell. You can't replace Chilwell for sure. But honestly, he can do something out of the ordinary. We've seen it in the past, how many years, comes out with great goals. And he's actually played well. The last against Palace, he was good. Against Southampton, he was good. I think
against Real Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, he was very good against Real Madrid. Every single player was, but I think he will start tonight because I don't think it'd be Merlin Sarr like Bobby wants. I think it'd be Alonso tonight. And because it's Arsenal, don't forget, it's not going to be as easy as everyone thinks. Oh, if we're going to win 3-0, we're going to win. You know, I'm hoping we win 2-0. That'd be good enough for me. But it's an important game for us as well because we want to try and finish as high as we can, and it's still possible to finish second. You know, that's not out of the question completely yet. You know, so I want to see a strong lineup tonight because it's Arsenal and we don't want to lose to them again or draw with them. You know, like last time after being 2 goals up, we went and draw 2-2. We have to really show up tonight. And, you know, there's not many games left now. So all the players, they have to be up for it, especially tonight. If they want to play in the FA Cup final, they have to show they deserve to play in that final. So, Lukaku included. Anyone who's picked, they have to show themselves or they be bench. I'm sure Tuchel will do that anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing. As long as, we have a very solid midfield that can protect our defense, I'm usually not concerned that Alonso is on the pitch because the truth is the primary, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record here. The primary responsibility of our wing backs isn't to defend, really. So again, they do more going forward than they do defensively. That's why when Tuchel really wants Reece James to defend, he plays him as a right center back man. So I think Alonso, he's still got it in him, and I don't think Tuchel will consider selling him because he brings you goals. And he's actually a fine passer of the ball. If he finds himself in the midfield, you see how good he is at passing the ball. Go ahead.
And he can also cross, from a corner, he can cross, beat the first man, not like Mason Mount. So I can't remember, hardly any good crosses he's made this year. He's turned it around the last few games, but giving him a rating out of the season is rubbish for Mason Mount.
I think we have to understand that Mason issues when he started to falter at the beat was just he was mentally tired. He was overplayed, and again his numbers say otherwise.
No,
he's not perfect.
No excuses,
Go ahead.
Coach. You can say that with all the players. Look, Lukaku's playing bad because he's not mentally there and he's lost his confidence. We have to say the same with every other player. If they're not on it, you have to say the truth. Don't some fans they back one player and they hate another one, and it's up and down. Whoever wears that shirt, that blue shirt, is a Chelsea player, and they shouldn't be called stupid names or anything else. But we don't have that in our fan base. We have some idiots. Not here. But,
I don't necessarily think it's fair to call people idiots. I think as fans, our right is to have an opinion about players.
No, I'm not talking about you.
I'm not.
No, he's not saying you're talking about him, but Nick, I think he's correct.
It doesn't matter.
The same way.
Wait a minute, can I finish?
Look, let me finish and you can finish. Yeah, look. Some fans are idiots, and don't say they're not, because I'll see them and they sit next to me. And when they start swearing and calling Lukaku stupid names, that's not the way we support Chelsea, all right? Now, don't tell me anything else, because you're wrong, again.
Go ahead, Lionel.
My point is that, yes, calling people names is not the thing to do, but fans are allowed an opinion on seeing a player's performance. Lukaku's performance this season has been abysmal. If you talk about Marcos Alonso, when Chelsea bought Marcos Alonso, they bought a defender. They didn't buy a winger. They didn't buy an attacking player. They bought a defender, and he's lacking at being a defensive player. Yes, it's fantastic that going forward, he has all of these things. But the biggest problem that even Lampard had with Marcos Alonso was the fact that he just couldn't defend. We need to start like putting things, it doesn't mean that Marcos Alonso is the worst player to ever put on a Chelsea shirt. But the reality is that he just cannot defend, and he puts our defense in a stressful position every time he's on the pitch. Yes, he's had some fantastic games. Against Real Madrid, he had a fantastic game. You can look at many games where Alonso has been amazing going forward. But again, defensively is what Chelsea bought him for. The reason why Chelsea went to Olympic, is it Lyon? Lyon, where Emerson is. The reason why they kept begging and adding money on having him come back is because of the lack of abilities that Alonso has, knowing that we would find it very hard to finish the season if we didn't have a left back that could defend. And that's the important part about talking about Alonso. Alonso, yes, going forward is amazing. Most of our players on this at Chelsea are amazing going forward. But the point is, we have a defense for a reason, and he just cannot give that output that we need him to do on a consistent basis. So I really don't understand the argument that yes, he's amazing going forward, blah, 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 but we forget the fact that he's a horrible defender. And a lot of the times when we lost 5-2 to West Brom, Alonso was in the center of that catastrophe. Hence why he had that whole issue with Lampard. And we need to remember those things when we talk so highly of these players that continue to put us in bad situations. They have 1-2 good games and we're like, oh, he's fantastic, he's turned it around. No, he hasn't.
Hey, how about the fact that the primary responsibility of our wing backs isn't to defend? That's for you. Yeah.
Our wing backs need to defend, bro. They need to defend, even if, like you say, it's not their primary. But the three that we have at the back, right, cannot contain. The reason why when we are defending, we go to a back five is because we need that security in defense. The first thing that Thomas Tuchel did when he came to Chelsea was put in a back five because 4 defenders was not working under Lampard. No matter what combination you had on the field, Reece James on the right, Rudiger and Thiago Silva in the center, Alonso or Ben Chilwell on the left, it wasn't working, and we were leaking goal after goals after goals, and we were in games where we were winning, by 2 goals, and then at the end we lose 3-2 or it's 2-2 because our defense couldn't do anything about it. So Tuchel comes in and puts a back five because he understands that defensively we may have 2 top world-class defenders in that team, and the others are youngsters like James that are still going to make mistakes once in a while. So what does he need? He needs security, and that's the reason why we have a back five. So of course they need to defend. Of course they need to be able to defend.
That's a good argument right there. I do not even know what to say next. Nick, I'm going to start with you with Reece James. How important would this guy be today? And what position do you think he will play?
Reece James. Look, he's young, but he's past his age. He's so good. He's unbelievable. You saw the way he played against Palace. Saha didn't get a sniff out of him. He's just getting better every time I see him. And I think his best position is the right wing back, which that's his usual position, because he can defend and he can go up that wing and he will score. So he's got everything in him. This guy is going to be one of our future, maybe captain, but one of our future legends in this club. He's unbelievable for me. I love Reece James so much. And Mason Mount is the same, but James is shown, out of all the youth products that will come through, James is miles ahead of everyone.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I think he'll be playing right wing back tonight. Rudiger, Silva probably in the middle. Anyway, we don't know what Tuchel's going to do. I think Werner's got a little knock or something. He might not play. But yeah, and and we've got Aspie still has, is still there. So we still have Aspie for this year, and hopefully next year. He signed another year, so I'm not too bothered about the back. We have great defenders, and when they're on the game, no one can get through. No one. It's just a bad luck against Brentford, Real Madrid, the game at home. There wasn't on it. No one was. But they've been on more. They've been on it more than they haven't. So I'm very proud of the team. What we've done so far this year. Yeah.
Yeah. Lionel, what do you think about this man on the screen? What position do you think he will play today?
I think I prefer seeing him at right wing back. I think he gives us more going forward than he does when he's playing as the right centre back. Hopefully, he does play on basically the wing, if you want to call it that. I think I for once have to agree with Nick. I think Reece James is a top class player. I think out of all the players from our academy, I think he is the real deal. He's proven that he is the real deal ever since he's come into this team. I mean, let's not forget that he forced Lampard and Tuchel to bench Azpilicueta, who's been an outstanding performer for this Chelsea team. So yes, I agree. I think he is world class, and he can only get better. But the reality is he's young, and as a youngster, there's still mistakes that he's made. But I mean, if you look at the Real Madrid game, how he handled himself against Vinicius, after getting that yellow card, I think a lot of us thought, he's in trouble here. Like, Vinicius is going to keep going at him, and it just takes one unlucky, swing of the foot, and, he's off. But he handled himself perfectly well. Players wanting his shirt afterwards just proves his quality. And I say this wholeheartedly, I think he's the best right back in England.
Yeah, I think he is. The comparison between him and what's his name, Trent, I just do not understand, because defensively he's better. I think they have where they differ, but I'll take him anytime, any day. I want to ask you your thoughts. Do you think Kai Havertz starts this one, and why?
Yeah.
Is that me or Nick?
Let me start with Nick. I'll come back to you, Lionel.
Yeah, Havertz. Yeah, Havertz, for me, maybe he needs to have a little rest on the bench and pull Lukaku tonight. I have a feeling that could happen tonight, because he's been playing a lot of games. I love Havertz. He's on fire. But we can try Lukaku and see if he can turn it around tonight. And if he doesn't, then Havertz is there to bring on. I will give a Lukaku the start and Havertz to have a little rest. For me, that's all I...
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Lionel?
Unfortunately, I have to agree. I think Havertz has been playing a lot of games lately. I think with looking at his game against Crystal Palace, you could see that there was a bit of he was looking a bit leggy. So I think he does need to sit out, and hopefully Lukaku can come in and do something, at least be a disturbance for White and the other guy in the Arsenal defense. Hopefully that he can, bully the way that he did in the first game, and fingers crossed that we get a good performance out of him.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope, but you never can tell. Tuchel will never cease to amaze us. When you think player A starts, player B starts. I think right now we should go into picking the potential 11. But let's maybe this would do. Let's try and pick our 11 first. And let me ask this question: there's a problem in the midfield area. Jorginho is available. Kante is available. And if we're saying, if we have Christensen available and James available, do you think there's still room for, there will still be room for this guy to start? What's his name? Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah,
Lionel, that's for you.
Who's that?
Oh, yeah. I think Ruben can start. I think playing with Jorginho, it wasn't horrible, against Crystal Palace. So I think there is a space for them to play in there. I think Arsenal are not going to be as aggressive. Well, I would like to think so, at least from the games that I've seen. I don't think they're going to be as aggressive. So Jorginho might have more time on the ball, hopefully to place the passes that he needs to, and give Ruben the freedom to go forward and be more involved with the front three. So hopefully that's how it goes, but we will definitely have to see how that goes.
Nick, your thoughts? Do you think Ruben gets a chance today, given that Jorginho is available, Aspi is available, and James is available, and Kante is available? So all those places that you think he'd play.
Yeah, I think Ruben should start. I think he will after the display when he come on. He was really top class against Paris when he come on. So for me, I think he will start. Maybe with Jorginho, Kante has to be rested as well a little bit. So I will go with, I will go for Jorginho and Ruben in the middle today.
Okay, we'll see. We'll start the lineup in a bit. And before we start selecting the lineup, if you haven't, please be sure to smash that like button so that the YouTube algorithm will push the stream to more people who would be interested in this particular topic. And if you haven't, do subscribe to the channel. That will go a long way in helping the channel grow. So let's get into the lineup again. Yep, this is it. We're into the lineup. If you're in the chat, let us know who should start in between the sticks for this game. And okay, Lionel, who do you think who do you want to start between the sticks and why? Okay, Nick, let's start with you since Lionel isn't there yet.
Yeah, for me, I'd love to give Kepa some games. Maybe right at the end of the season, he might get a few games. But there's no choice. Our number one is Mendy, so Mendy's going to start. For me,
I don't. Go ahead.
No choice. Mendy has to start. He's the number one for a reason, so he's going to be in goal for me.
Yeah, Lana, who do you think starts between the sticks? Yeah, I think Lana is having a connection issue, and I think we can agree Mendy starts between the sticks. And there's something I wanted us to talk about, because when I talked about it, it wasn't like the argument was like I was trying to create a division in the the argument was that I was trying to create division in the Chelsea camp or something like that. But something doesn't seem quite right between Thomas Tuchel and Kepa Arrizabalaga. But that's not to me. Even if Kepa started the FA Cup, I wouldn't start Kepa in this game. But we should have a goalkeeper who's, will be in the right mindset, who feel trusted. So if anything happens to Mendy, he starts. So, Lionel, who do you think starts between the stick and why?
Oh, Mendy. I think this game is important. I think anything could happen moving forward, so we have to win this. I think we win this. Top three solidified. Like Nick said earlier, we still have a chance. I still believe that maybe we could sneak a second. I just think we should always look at every game as important as the last one, and we should just move forward like that.
Yeah, I think Mendy keeps his place. And I wanted to talk about Charity FC here that they're mentioning. Here's the thing about the Charity FC thing. I believe it's well and truly in existence. Maybe it's a phenomenon. Maybe it's just maybe it's just nonsense. Maybe it all comes down to the mentality of the players. But the truth is, the fact that we are concerned that we may well lose to Arsenal at home, that's a good sign. I don't usually like it when I hear Chelsea fans going, "Oh, we're going to mop the floor with them. We're going to beat them 10-0, 3-0, 1-0, 2-0." Then we have a problem. So the fact that we're concerned, to me, I like it. Your thoughts, Lionel?
Yeah, I think it's important that we stay grounded. Like you started off this episode saying that whenever we play against Arsenal, it doesn't matter what their form is. They're going to come into this game thinking that they can beat us and they're going to play like they can. And we need to make sure that we, number one, don't give them the opportunities to play and run at us. And secondly, we need to be as strong defensively as we were in the past game. So it's important that we keep a level head and we make sure that we get the job done and don't let the moment take over our emotions.
Yeah, because that's very easy to happen in the London derby. Because the fact is, no matter how we see it, it will most definitely be a feisty encounter. Hopefully, nobody gets a red card. Nick, your thoughts?
Yeah, we can't take Arsenal lightly, because on the day Arsenal, they can beat anyone. They've proven that this year. They beat Man City, plus a few others. We can't take them lightly, because on the day, they're very dangerous. There's no charity tonight. And it's a big London derby, one of our, oldest rivals, don't forget. It's a big game. The only bad thing is we're not going to have a full capacity because of the government. They won't allow us tickets. Only season ticket holders will be at the game. So and also will have the away section. Don't forget. So it ain't going to be easy. I just want the season ticket holders to show up tonight, not using their phones and watching silly movies like they do usually.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that, but I think we shall overcome no matter what they do to us. So, Lionel, I'll start with you. The back three. Give me who you want in the middle, the left, the right.
Well, I would like to see Silva, Rudiger, and maybe Azpilicueta, because I think that Christensen. I don't feel like Christensen's head is at Chelsea anymore. For some reason, every time I see him play, it just seems like he's not there anymore. And so personally, that's what I would go for, or maybe even Sarr somewhere in there. But I think I'll go Rudiger, Silva, and Aspi.
How about you, Nick? Your back three. Have we lost you, Nick? Your back three, if you can hear us.
Yeah, I was on mute. Yeah, look, Rudiger, of course, he's our first choice, first man on the team sheet, like with Silva. But, against Palace, he had a bad cramp. He's overtired. He's been used so much. So it depends. If Rudiger is 100% and he thinks he can go, then he has to be Rudiger. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Sarr there and Rudiger having a little rest on the bench. I wouldn't be surprised. So I have to say Rudiger first, Silva in the middle, and again Aspi and Christensen. Christensen had a good game against Palace as well, and Aspi too. Christensen was really good against Palace, so it's gonna be a hard choice. With Tuchel, we don't know. Personally, I will put Aspi, because he's a leader, he's our captain. So I prefer Aspi, who signed a 1-year extension, not Christensen,
Go ahead.
who's going to go to Barcelona. For that reason, I play Aspi. So it's got to be the great back three, Rudiger, Silva, Aspi.
Okay, I think Aspi wins, but here's the thing. I think Andreas Christensen will most likely start here, but majority carries the vote, which means Aspi. We'll add Aspi here, but here's the thing. We are lacking aerially. We're poor aerially, but Christensen is one of the better in terms of aerial battles for us. He wins aerial duels on his day more often than the other three guys does. But I get it. More people want Aspie to start here, so I put Aspie. And if you remember, Thomas Tuchel said he trusts Christensen. He doesn't care that whether he believe in the club or not. He expects him to be 100% whenever he's on the pitch playing for Chelsea Football Club. So Lionel, your 2-6-6 here. Who do you think will start?
I think depending on how Jorginho is feeling, because if I remember correctly, in Tuchel's press conference yesterday, he spoke about Jorginho carrying an injury and that he's been carrying it for a while now. Hopefully, it's not too serious. So I would go, if that is true and that Jorginho is carrying something, I think, and obviously Kovacic is out. I would go with N'Golo Kante and Ruben as the 2-6s. I think that works. But if Jorginho is fine, then Jorginho and Ruben.
You say who and who? Jorginho and Ruben for you?
Yes, yeah, Jorginho and Ruben.
Okay, Nick, your 2-6s. Nick, can you hear me? I'd say
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I was on mute. Yeah, look, Kante, he had a little rest against Paris. He came on late on, so he's well fit enough to start. I think it'd be Kante and Ruben Loftus-Cheek together. I don't think Tuchel will take the chance with Jorginho because he like he said in the press conferences, he has a little knock. So it's going to be Kante
I think Just Viola says Thomas Tuchel was referring to Jorginho's old injury.
Yeah, but he's still there.
Okay,
he hasn't. No, he's got a knock. He's been playing with a knock, and that's why he hasn't performed. 100%. For me, I could be wrong. But I have to go Kante and Loftus-Cheek because Loftus was great the last game. Yeah.
I really don't think Thomas Tuchel would risk playing Loftus-Cheek in that position as one of the sixes because he hasn't been great in terms of protecting the defense. But that's, by the way, we'll see who wins the vote. Lionel, your choice.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go with. I definitely think that Ruben is starting. I think that for sure he's gonna start.
But where?
Just between Jorginho and he's gonna start as a pivot in the pivot, but it's between Jorginho and Kante, and I think I'm gonna go with Kante and Loftus.
Kante and Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah.
I think that may well be the case, but I think whoever plays, I think Kante starts because his ability to protect the defense, I think Thomas Tuchel values that a lot. But we'll see what happens. He never ceases to amaze us. So while I'm still with you, your left wing back, who do you think will start there?
Oh, of course, Mr. Alonso. I think, I don't know if Sarr, this is the type of game for Sarr. I think, as much as, I spoke about how bad he is defensively, I think Alonso does have experience over a lot of other left backs that we have at Chelsea, even including Ben Chilwell at times. So I think that experience sometimes overweighs his inability to defend correctly. So I'll go with Alonso. On the left, I think, he might carry on with this good form and actually play well. And let's not forget, he started off the season amazingly well. He kept Ben Chilwell on the bench for a little bit. So, yeah, hopefully.
And for the right wing back position?
Right, Reece James. If he's fit, if he's ready to go, it's always Reece James, always.
Okay. Nick, to you, left wing back and right wing back.
Yeah, left wing back. Sarr. I don't mind. Sarr has been good in certain games this year, but he has a mistake in him a lot of times. And I think with this against Arsenal, we need our top players. I mean, by top players, I mean the experienced players. like Alonso has. He's used to playing against Arsenal in massive games. So it's got to be Alonso on the left. And there's no question about who's on the right. That's Reece James. And he's going to be our future right wing back for forever. No one's going to replace him. He's only going to get better. As as long as he's not injured, he's got that position nailed on. So yeah.
Okay, so both of them, James. Okay, your turn, Lionel. The lone eight, because I think this is usually how they play mainly these days. The lone eight.
This I I would like maybe Mount in there. I think I prefer it when all they play three up front with with them interchanging positions. But I think I would like Mount in there. Yeah.
You like Mount behind the two strikers, right?
Yeah.
All right, Nick, your turn. Who do you want there?
Yeah, that's Mount. Played well against Paris. He's going to be Mason Mount. He's going to be there behind the two strikers. It showed, that was a good. It showed when they done that against Real Madrid. At Real Madrid, showed how good he can be in that position. That's my favorite position for Mount. Yeah, no question about it. It's got to be Mount.
Yeah, it's going to be Mount, and I think he's rested. It's not like this game they haven't had a rest. So if they haven't had a rest, then you argue that there's a chance Mount gets some rest. And truly, your question, I think the formation is just the way I placed the players. It isn't like that will be the structure, but we'll go ahead with it. So Mount here. So the two attackers, if you prefer, I can switch it around if you guys think it's going to be 2-8 behind a 9. Is that what you guys think it will be?
No, it's got to be a 1. It's got to be 1-8 Mason Mount behind the two strikers.
Do you agree with that, Lionel?
I think it depends on who plays in the striking role, but
exactly.
Yeah, I think usually like if Pulisic plays and if it's Pulisic, Mount, and Lukaku, for example, I don't think Mount is playing in that position. I think he'll move further up. But yeah, I would tend to agree if we're playing, with two up front, basically, I think Mount is just going to play behind them. So it makes sense.
So the two strikers for you?
I think Lukaku is going to get, after an hour of talking bad about
Lukaku and Werner.
Lukaku, I think Nick said that Werner has a knock, right? So
yeah.
I think Lukaku and I think Pulisic, as much as I don't necessarily agree. I think
I honestly do not see Pulisic starting this game again. That's me.
Really?
If you are in the chat, please let us know who you think starts, Werner or Pulisic. I think Werner starts this game. If he has a knock, which means he has a chance to start. If it's referred to as a knock.
Yeah, it's not a big injury, but that's what I heard. That's what Tuchel said. He's got a slight knock, so
yeah,
he could well start.
I think he'd start.
Yeah, he could well start. If he's, it depends on the day. They're going to see how he is. So, it could be Werner and Lukaku to get his chance. For me, if Werner doesn't start, he's, he has to be Pulisic because he's been rested. He hasn't played for a while. He's been rested really good.
So you guys are saying Pulisic?
I'm saying Pulisic because he's been rested and he's going to be ready to go. Oh, yeah. Pulisic and Lukaku, that's what I think could happen tonight.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Let me tell you guys how I differ. Here, I think this place, will be Andreas Christensen.
Okay.
Not Aspie. And for the 2 6s, I think it will be Kante and Jorginho. That's what I think. And I think Kai Havertz starts today again. I think Lukaku sits on the bench. I think it will be Kai Havertz, Werner.
Yeah, but Havertz needs a rest, coach.
I know, but he's rested for a few days now, and watch him start. But again, I'll put this as a lineup. Now let's to round off. Let's talk about. Let me pull up this thing. Sorry, guys. Let's talk about how we deal with Arsenal, because we know they have speed machines. We that cannot change. So look what they have there. Odegaard isn't the quickest, but I'm really concerned about Smith Rowe. I'm concerned about Saka. Even Martinelli can be quick, and this guy is he's a tricky customer here. This guy, and one thing I've learned about that team is that it looks like as if we seem to find it difficult to deal with players who are good dribblers in terms of one-on-one. I'll start with you, Lionel.
Yeah, that's why actually looking at the team that we've just made, it might be that James plays as the right back instead of right wing back, because of that problem, that speed. I find that every time we go against a very quick player on the left, James kind of fits in at the back there to kind of nullify that. And what's his name? Aspilicueta will play as a right wing back. So it should be interesting. But man, I've unfortunately have watched the last two games that Arsenal has played, and I want to. I don't want to be too forward, but I just can't see this Arsenal team beating us this time around. Like I'm trying to stay level-headed. If we play even, the way we played against Crystal Palace, which wasn't fantastic, we can still get a win here today. So hopefully that's what happens. But I think we should be. I'm sure we've all said this before, but we should be able to handle this Arsenal team today.
Yeah, but I'm going to say I'm still happy we're concerned. And before I go to Nick, please, if you're in the chat or wherever you're watching from, we have about 30 people watching and 25 on YouTube, four on Facebook and one on Twitch. Please, if you can, I'd appreciate you liking the video so that it will trigger the YouTube algorithm and the stream will be pushed to more people. And again, please do like the video. Let me see if we have anything in the chat to address. He says if Lukaku scored, then it will shock Thomas Tuchel. I hope he scores. I wouldn't stop him. And Father Samuel, I think this is your first time here. Please, if you haven't, make sure to like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Nick, your thoughts on how we can deal the pace of this Arsenal wingers, if you want to.
Yeah, first of all, this ain't going to be an easy game. Arsenal, for
it will
some
never
reason,
be.
Yeah, look, Arsenal always turn up against us. Doesn't matter where they are in the league, they will turn up against us. They like playing against Chelsea and they really want to beat us. I know the mentality of Arsenal. So it's up to us. We must let them get that rhythm, bossing the play. It's up to us to be fast, passing correctly. And on our game, there's no chance for Arsenal. But I'm just... Yeah. Just hold on, I have to answer the door.
All right. Let me ask you this, Lionel. Two people here have asked. I think it was the first person that asked why nobody wants Chalobah was True Blue, and then Dil CFC is saying something about Chalobah too. I want to see Chalobah start, but I think it's difficult for him to start this one, given that he hasn't played for a while, and something doesn't seem right. I don't know if it has to do with his fitness or maybe I don't know. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Chalobah, when he was first introduced, started off magnificently well. But I think there have been some games where he's made some pretty big mistakes. And I think the following game almost gave away a penalty again. I'm not really sure. I think
On
it
two
was,
consecutive games, actually, he made some serious
yeah,
mistakes.
yeah. So I think maybe that has taken him down the pecking order. Maybe I think maybe Sarr is a bit higher on that list, and maybe that's what's happening. Then he also got injury, so that took him off. A lot of gameplay. So it's tough, but I mean, he's still young. He still has time to prosper and and get better. So I think that I shouldn't be too worried if I don't see Chalobah playing today. I think he will get his chance, but this is a big game, so we need to play the strongest team that we can as much as possible, as much as possible. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with you. Go ahead, Nick.
yeah, I'll just answer the goal. Yeah, in Arsenal, for some reason, they're the bogey team for us. The last couple of seasons, they already, always seem to turn up, like I said, against us. We have to be on our game. There's no
Yeah.
starting slowly. We have to start fast and stay fast. Don't give them a chance to get in their rhythm. Don't give Saka a chance to run at us, or Smith Rowe, what's his name? Menatelli, what's his name? Menatelli?
Martinelli.
Martinelli, he's very dangerous. They've got great young players, very fast players. We have to, but all our game with the experience and the team we have, we should win this game. But, it's happened before. We thought we were going to beat them in the FA Cup final and we were going to lose. We were 2-0, 2 goals up, and we draw 2-2, don't forget. So, we have to be on our
Yeah, and
game.
I have to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, we have to
Mhm.
be 100%. We have to, yeah.
Yeah, I think we really have to, because the truth is, I think they this Arsenal side is actually brilliant. If you ask me, they're pretty good, and nearly all the front three can shoot very well from outside the 18. And again, I'm really don't. We'll see if Saka how we'll be able to deal with them, because I don't think we're good in terms of defending against quick feet players like the Bukayo Saka, because he's seriously a tricky customer. Just don't pass to Mendy. That's hilarious. Again, I think we're not into the business. I rather want Lukaku in this match. Is that a good thing? But the issue is, will he get the service he wants? If we start him, then he needs the service. But I think would be better off, playing against these guys with fluidity rather than power. Your thoughts, Lionel?
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with you. I think this is the type of game where, I think we would benefit from a fluid player like Havertz, running into the spaces. His movements is very important. I think a static Lukaku might be an easier, there might be an easier way to defend against him. But then again, he did show that in the first game, even though I think Ben White wasn't there, and was Gabriel playing? I don't remember. So they weren't at full strength then. They're not at full strength now, obviously, with Partey missing and Lacazette out and so forth. But I still think that a fluid player, will help us, make those moves. They're gonna come at us. I know Arsenal, like Nick said, this is a North London derby, and they're gonna put their best foot forward. They're gonna come at us, and having Werner on the counter, having the mobility of Havertz and Mount's movements and the way he works hard, I think it's important that we have that against this team, and we have to look out for Odegaard. I think he's the best player on that team, and if he has a really good day, he can pick out passes, he can create, he can dominate the midfield, and that's how good he is. So it's important to watch out for him. But again, I hope that we can pull out a win from this, because I think this is a match where if Arsenal lose this match, they don't make top four. But if they win it, it's going to be very hard the momentum is going to carry them till the end of the season, and Tottenham are going to find it very hard to keep up with them. So I think this is how important this match is for Arsenal, and they're going to come at us with everything they have.
Yeah, they will, because usually they turn their seasons around by winning against us. It's a different ballgame altogether. Form at this point is irrelevant. It's a London derby, a game we must win, and I'm happy we beat them at home. I hope we do that again. And let me ask you this, Nick, and I'll come back to Lionel. But before I do that, please, if you haven't, make sure to like the streams. We have 40 likes right now, and I think we can do better before the show ends. Do you think, because Mikel Arteta he's very good at deploying a very defensive approach, and you never know even. How do you think they will approach this game? Do you think they will defend deep?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to sit back like some teams. They're going to sit. They will defend, but not completely. They're going to be very cautious, of course, and they will try and hit us on the break with their fast players. That's what they're going to do. They played that sort of game at the Bridge last year. So, yeah, they might sit back and counter us. They ain't going to go for it. Like, we have to, we're at home. We have to go for them as soon as we come out. Don't give them the chance to settle on the ball. That's what we have to do. Like we did at Arsenal, we had a great win there. We can do it. It's up to us. It's up to us. We can't just let them, win, get a draw. Even a draw would be like a loss to me. We must win this game. I don't want any more draws. We've had enough this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Agreed.
Yeah. Lionel, how do you think that we'll approach this game?
I love Havertz. But I could see against Palace he was tired. That's why he couldn't get into the game. That's the only reason I will play Lukaku to start, and just have us on the bench. Things doesn't go. If Lukaku can't get going, then just change him, even in the first half. Change him. So let's see what Tuchel does.
Yeah, so Lionel, your thoughts on how you think Arsenal will play today? One thing is sure, they press very well.
Yeah, and I think that comes out of the Pep Guardiola school, of how they press. It's a similar thing with Man City. I think because they're missing these pivotal players like Thomas Partey, I think it might be harder for them to do what's gotten them to fighting for fourth, because they have been unbelievable when everyone was fit and ready to go. But like we've just said, they're gonna come at us. They're gonna come. They're gonna want to win. They believe that beating us will lift their season, so they can end it strong. So from go we have to be on our best behavior, and also we need to be careful because we conceding a lot of goals after just scoring. I've noticed lately, like we will score a goal and then 5 minutes later or 2 minutes later concede, and I think that is also something where the concentration in the team kind of dips after we score a goal, and we need to be very aware of that today. Especially in a game like this.
Yeah, I agree with you. Why I'm still with you, Lionel, what do you think the outcome will be? Before there's one topic I'd like us to talk about. Maybe we'll round off with that one, except if we get any questions in the chat to address. And wherever you're watching, we have about 30 people watching right now, 27 on YouTube, 1 on Twitch, and 1 on Chelsea Perspective. 1 on Chelsea Perspective Facebook page. Lionel, what do you think the outcome of the game will be?
I think if we can do our best to squeeze a win, I think we could win 2-0. I see it going either that or Arsenal beating us like 3-0. So I'm gonna go for a 2-0. I think that we can contain Arsenal, and I hope that this is one of those days where we don't let the charity FC, as everyone's been saying, come out of us.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think I'll go 2-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, True Blue says that strangely a draw is worse for them than ours. Nick, what do you think the outcome of the game will be?
I think, I said it yesterday, I predicted the score yesterday. I said 2-0 yesterday, and I stick with 2-0. I want to see a clean sheet. I want to see like against Palace, but just to perform a bit faster than we did against Palace. Second half, we were much better, but that first half was terrible. I don't want to see the first half like we did against, at Wembley. That was really bad. So, yeah, 2-0 for me. And I'm hoping Lukaku scores. I'm praying for him to score.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think Lukaku will score? Is that what you think?
Well, I'm praying. Yes, I do. I have a feeling he's going to bounce back and prove the haters wrong. That's what I want to see.
Okay, we'll see.
I will always hope that a Chelsea player.
I'm not talking about you. You don't.
Yeah,
talk,
no, I know. I know. I'm just saying.
Wait. You don't talk nothing. As there's certain fans. I don't want to name them, but they do talk really bad about him. Even if he's playing good, even when he scores, how anyone could score that goal. They talk really bad about him. So I'm not talking about all this.
Yeah, I just hope that and even when I made this video like months ago, I've always said that I'm always happy for a Chelsea player to prove me wrong. I was wrong about Ben Chilwell at the beginning when we bought Ben Chilwell. I said Ben Chilwell is not the right left back, but he's shut me up on numerous occasions. He's shown that he is a quality left back, and our team lacks without him. So it's good,
We have to have faith. Whoever wears that blue shirt, we as fans, we have to back them. Not call them names and shout abuse at them. That's the main thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Lukaku has to prove it. It's up to him. Even me at the beginning, before we go, I wanted Lukaku to come with Chelsea because we couldn't get Haaland. That was impossible. And we had a choice. We couldn't get Kane. Kane is a Tottenham fan. He never in a million billion years he will come with Chelsea. And then Live wouldn't have let that happen. So it has to be Lukaku. And Lukaku started off all right. He was okay. But that interview, you done him up mentally, he's still suffering from that interview for me. That's a problem with him. So, but the Tuchel give him the chance to bounce back. We have to give him the chance now to see what he can do.
So, I think it was my fault. Go ahead, Nick. You were saying something.
Yeah, I was saying we have to give Lukaku the chance like we did with Chilwell and every other player. And then, he's not a bad player. That interview.
Here's the thing, Nick. Here's the thing.
Wait a minute.
I'm not in any way saying Lukaku is a bad player, and I think Lionel is the same with me. The issue is that his profile doesn't fit the way we play.
All right.
And that doesn't help matters.
The system doesn't help, but, there must be a way around that. How many times we saw Lukaku getting into great positions and there wasn't getting the ball to him. There wasn't, the ball was going over his head, things like that. We have to improve as well. It's not just Lukaku. I keep saying that, I've been saying it all season. But, he's lost his confidence. Since that interview, he's not the same Lukaku. That's the problem. So we don't know what's up to him to get mental behavior back and then get his confidence back. It's only up to him. We can't do nothing. We can just hope he, turns it around. There's some people that don't turn it around. Mm-hmm. Some people
I hope that changes. I hope that changes. And here's a good point for you if that makes you happy. True Blue says, despite being moody, Lukaku is second top scorer. Yep, that hasn't changed, even though he hasn't played that much. Yep. Okay. Again, this is another discussion there. Now, I want to talk about this because this really got me mad. But before I continue, I want to say if you haven't please be sure to go check out Lionel Jewel's YouTube channel, from Phantom, True Blue, Just Viola, Mikel, whoever you are that's in the chat. Go check out Lionel Jewel's YouTube channel and also follow him on Twitter. Great content and always objective. Never joined the boss because everybody is on the boss. He always does his thing in a factual. Now, Lionel, I'm sure you've seen this thing on the screen where he says, that is from Frank Khalid in tweet, says, Carlo Ancelotti has reportedly placed Reece James at the top of Real Madrid's list of transfer targets this summer. And if that wasn't enough, Benzema swapped shirt with him, and Vinicius Jr., I think, sent a message on, I think it was on Twitter, direct message. I think he tagged him or something like that, not DM. Your thoughts on this nonsense? Because this is how Real Madrid, that's how they tap, they tap into players' mind, and before you know it, people will start talking about that player going to Real Madrid. Because whether we like it or not, that creates a problem for us.
Yeah, it's true. I think Carlo Ancelotti can put him on whatever list he wants, to be honest. I don't think Reece James is going anywhere. I think Chelsea Football Club it's his dream to play for Chelsea. I mean, he's won the Champions League with Chelsea. He's probably looking to win the league with Chelsea. And any other trophy that, the international trophies, whether it be the World Cup he's won, the Super Cup he's won. Those are the trophies that some of the most legendary players, like the original Ronaldo, he never won the Champions League. Reece James has done that. I think a player goes to Real Madrid because they feel like they can attain the top honors. I think the whole just playing for Real Madrid, I think that whole mystique has gone. And I feel like, players go to Real Madrid because they always want to be competing for the top honors. And it's easier to do that in La Liga because there's basically 3-4 teams at best, So I wouldn't take this seriously. I hope I'm not wrong, and that Reece James turns around and says, I want to go to Madrid. It's happened. But I'm not worried about this rumor. I think Reece James is at his boyhood club. I think he loves his position. No one is going to come and take Reece James' position unless he himself decides to, put in lackluster performances, which I don't think he can physically do. So, yeah, I think James is staying at Chelsea for as long as Chelsea wants him there.
Yeah, and if you're in the chat, let us know how long does he have left on his contract, because that's another issue. Here's where, I'll let Nick come in first, and I'll talk where this creates a problem for us. Nick, your thoughts on this, because that's not okay. And Madrid does that. They do that all the time.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they always, of course they got to go. Everyone wants Reece James. Any club in the world would want him. But Reece James he is Chelsea through and through. He was made in Chelsea. He wants to captain the team, later on in his career. And he no way he's going to want to go to Real Madrid. He's a Chelsea, like I said, through and through. I'll be shocked. I'll be really shocked. I can't see it happening. They can want him as much as they want, but he's not going to Real Madrid or anywhere else. No chance.
Yeah. I get this comment here that says Reece ain't going nowhere. Yep, you can be hopeful. Again, you're not Reece. And True Blue says Reece's father says his ambition is to captain Chelsea. When did he say that? After this incident or when?
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
He said that. He said that.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, he did say that.
When?
I saw it on the interview he made on the Chelsea, the Fifth Stand app. If you go and have a look in that, you
after
find
this incident. That's my question. After this incident.
And no, not after. It was before. He said, this is different. But this is just talk from Ancelotti trying to wind him up. I can't see it happening, honestly. I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
There's no reason. There's no reason why. No reason why he should want to go to Real Madrid. We're the world champions, European champions. Right? Even if Real Madrid go and win the Champions League this year, doesn't mean they're going to be doing it for next year or years to come, because their players are getting older every year. They're going to have they're going to have a rebuild at one stage. Yeah, of course they're going to try and get Reece James and maybe a couple of more of our players, but it doesn't mean they're going to want to go there. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask you, how much of a problem is this now?
I don't think it is, honestly. I really don't think it is. I believe that there's two untouchables in this Chelsea team, and that's Mason Mount and Reece James. I think those players, Chelsea will make sure that, when push comes to shove, they will give them whatever they need, whatever they feel is good enough for them to stay. So honestly, this is the type of thing I'm not really worried about. And I just, unless something really, really bad happens, that a new coach comes in and doesn't have the same belief in Reece James as Lampard and Tuchel have, which I don't think is even possible. I think Reece James, maybe might have a struggle at Man City to play, because Kyle Walker is still, has the experience and still, been there for a while. But I think Reece James is a top right back, and any team in the world would be lucky to have him. And I think he loves Chelsea. He's been at Chelsea, like Nick said, he's grown up at Chelsea. He's a Cobham graduate, and he's really not going anywhere. And he's an untouchable like Mason Mount is.
Okay, I'm going to let you know where I think that creates a problem, and you let me know if I'm right, if it is possible.
Sure.
Now, if this is true, to any measure, that makes even Reece knows is good already, but this makes him understand, yep, I will have no shortage of buyers should I this. Even there was a time it was rumored that Pep wants him at Manchester City. Where this creates a problem is when we start to renegotiate his contract extension. The first one was pretty easy. The one after he returned from Wigan, it didn't take much time. We didn't hear too much about it. All we know, the Chelsea are trying to give him more contract. He's a humble guy, I've learned over time. But at this point, how well he's done, what he's won with Chelsea Football Club, and the fact that it's clear now how good he is, and the clubs that will be looking to take him away from Chelsea, should we waste time in renewing his contract? I think we have a problem when we start to negotiate a contract renewal with him. That's where I think this creates more problem for us. Your thoughts?
I don't necessarily feel like that. I think Chelsea Football Club, when they negotiate with players, especially with what's going on with Rudiger and so forth, it's interesting the way they kind of, put forward their wants and their needs for the betterment of the team. I think to get him to stay is not going to take much. I think maybe there might be some promises that he would want, but I really don't see it being an issue, and I don't feel like we should feed into these type of rumors. Again, like I said, two untouchables, James, Mount, and Chelsea Football Club. I think no matter who the new owners are that come in, they will understand that there's players that just are part of the fabric of what Chelsea Football Club is. And they will do whatever it takes to keep certain players around. And James is definitely one of those players. Yes, it might create this cloud of, I'm worth going to a Real Madrid. But if he has to believe that he is the best in the world to play at this level. He has to believe that. And whether, the negotiations don't go well or not, Reece James, from what he's shown so far, will always have people wanting him in their team. So from now, it's always going to be like this. But I definitely think that he's going to stay. I don't see him ever leaving Chelsea, and I hope I'm not wrong.
I do hope you're not wrong too. And let me answer this question. Coachila, he says, True Blue says, Coachila, do you have a need to be negative? This is not about being negative. You have to be factual here. And again, Rudiger not being offered as much by Madrid. Here's the difference. Rudiger is, how old is he now? 29, 30? But James is still in his early 20s. 29, exactly. So the difference is that Reece James is still in his early 20s, and Madrid could give him as much as Rudiger is asking and even more. And he's such a fine player. So that's the difference. And I don't think it's right for you to ask me if I have any need to be negative. No, that's not okay. I'm just voicing my concern here, and we're talking about it, and hopefully we'll come to a sensible conclusion. So I don't think it's good to ask me if I have any need to be negative. Did you go to Frank Khalid? Go to Frank Khalid and ask him if he has any need to talk about it. It's out there. So it's all about us to talk about it and see if it makes sense. But to me, I can tell you where that can cause a problem for us. Yes, it was easy to renew his contract this time, but this time it's not going to be that simple. Nick, I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, you're pretty right, really. It's not about being negative. I understand your point because, Reece James knows he's a lot better. He's getting better, all the time. He knows he's worth more, a lot more. So when that contract comes, the talks come, of course he's going to think about it. It's only natural. He loves...
Things has changed.
Yeah? He's changed. What do you mean? What are you saying?
No, I'm saying things has changed in terms of he's won the Champions League, he's won a Club World Cup. Yeah, he's a big player now, and he knows it. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, he's a world-class player now. Of course, teams are going to want him. And when it comes down to the contract talks, let's hope Chelsea will give him what he wants. And don't keep him waiting like Rudiger. I just want Rudiger to sign that contract. And I'm sure he will in the end. And Reece James, he loves Chelsea through and through, but doesn't mean he's going to accept anything. We don't know that. So, we're just... we're hoping he stays. I think he will, because he is a Chelsea boy, born in Chelsea, like Mason Mount, like Conor Gallagher, like Broja. These kids were made in Chelsea. So I have full faith they're going to want to stay, all of them.
Yeah, I still believe he will stay. But I think this makes us just puts us in a very difficult situation in terms of negotiation.
Go ahead. I understand what you're saying, because he's going to be worth a lot more, and he's going to want a bigger contract. End of the day.
Yep.
That's normal. That's only normal. But hopefully Chelsea will give him what he deserves, because we can't afford to lose a player like that, a future legend. That'd be crazy to let a player like that go. So it's up to Chelsea to give him the right money when it comes to that time.
Yeah, because this is not about being negative or being emotional. No, look at the case of Andreas Christensen. At one point, we were thinking Andreas Christensen stays, Antonio Rudiger leaves. And I even made a video with Dan Hill arguing that Andreas Christensen is more likely to stay. But in the end, it's looking more likely that Rudiger is be the one to stay. Andreas Christensen already left.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Everyone was saying, Christensen's for sure he's staying, he ain't going nowhere. But look, money talks, end of the day. So, look, Christensen wants more money, and that's why he's going. So,
and I hope Chelsea offers Reece James enough money that he doesn't look elsewhere, because that's one player I don't want us to lose, honestly. Because, like you said, Nick, money talks. Lionel, your thoughts actually in the possibility of him leaving. You're saying you don't want us to fit into that, but again, it's a possibility. This is football. We're talking here. Again, look at the case of Andreas Christensen.
I think a lot of the times when players like Christensen leave, a club like Chelsea, is money, and you are very correct when it comes to that. I agree 100% with you, but I think there's a difference when it comes to players like Reece James, because I really do, from what I've seen, obviously I don't know how he feels about these situations, but from what I've seen and like the interviews that he's done and his family life and hearing his dad talk, they sound like they are Chelsea Football Club supporters. The fact that his sister left United and came to Chelsea shows me, it further proves that they are Chelsea through and through. And I think what I think from the good thing about having American owners come in is that when it comes to salary negotiations, they're going to work the American way, throw as much money at at the problem as possible so that the problem can be fixed. And that's the one good thing I see with Americans coming in, especially when it comes to renegotiating contracts. So yes, you are right. There is, it is something to think about, especially when a team like Madrid comes for young players like Reece James. But I believe so strongly from what I've seen, from seeing how when he puts on this Chelsea shirt, what it meant for him to have his first appearance for Chelsea. All of the steps that Reece James has taken to become the player that he is in this Chelsea squad. And honestly, I think he knows that he's irreplaceable, and I think it just means a lot to him. And I'm praying that this is just a rumor, and he stays for a very long time, and like Nick says, becomes the legend that he's going to be at Chelsea. Reece James will be a Chelsea legend. Reece James will be spoken about in the same breath as the John Terrys and Frank Lampards and the Didier Drogbas, and I think that's big. I think these kids grew up looking at these idols and wanting to be just like them.
They were ball boys. Don't forget, they were ball boys when Drogba was playing, Lampard was playing. They were ball boys. Mount, Rich, Hudson-Odoi. I remember seeing them little 8-year-olds. So look, for me, Reece James, they love Chelsea. His family, like you said, his sister's she's a Chelsea mad as well now, playing for the women's team. Yeah, they are a Chelsea family. That's a good thing for us. But, there's always a possibility for anything. In football, we can't, say everything's probable. Nothing is impossible. That's the thing. That's why we love football. That's why, that's how the game is. But, personally, I don't think he's going nowhere. He's going to become a great legend for this club.
I hope that's the case, and we're learning from True Blue that he has 3 years left of his contract. This is the type of player we should start talking about renewing his contract right now, not until it is just down to 2 years. We had Max in the house, and he left for a bit. And Tragic TV, hey, how are you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. And if you're talking about, this is at you, Lionel. If you're talking about his sister leaving Manchester United, coming to Chelsea, remember we had Eden Hazard's case is different in so many ways. But remember, we had two of his brothers signed for Chelsea. Wasn't it two of them, or just Kieran? I think it was two of them.
No, it was two. Yeah. Torgan was there too.
So three of them signed for Chelsea. Actually, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's no guarantee. His sister leaving, as people mature, decision-making changes.
But that's
there's a lot of... Go ahead.
Situation, no? Sorry to
interrupt, but the truth is that there are lots of factors that come into play as you age. It's going to consider this guy... Yeah. But go ahead before I bring in Max.
But I think that's one thing that's, that is... one thing that's amazing about the English game or football in general, especially players that grow up in a certain club, that that have spent their life in a certain club and have grown through the stages and are first team players and have the chance to become permanent. Reece James is a permanent fixture at Chelsea Football Club. If he is fit and healthy to play, he will play, and that's the end of it, right? And I just and this is why I think that there's a difference because again, the Hazard brothers were bought in when they were already at an age where they weren't 8-year-olds. They didn't come to Cobham when they were 8 or 6 or that's why it was different. And and when they came, it just didn't work out for them. They found it hard to break through. Thorgan, I don't even think Thorgan ever played for the first team. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was different. And on the Hazard situation, Hazard, before he even arrived at Chelsea, his dream was to play for Real Madrid. He said from the start, we all knew this, that Eden Hazard's dream was to play for Real Madrid. So whatever time he spent at Chelsea, yes, it was great, but at the end, he was always going to leave once he had the opportunity. And that's why I think a lot of Chelsea fans weren't necessarily so upset when he left, because we understood he gave us everything that he could possibly give us, and then he moved on. If that has to happen with Reece James, I think Reece James' dream is to play for Chelsea Football Club. But if that at the end of the day is what he chooses to do, I think as Chelsea fans, we will have to look at his contribution to this Chelsea team, what he's given to this club over the years. And we just have to say, okay, good luck. And we move on, because even as amazing as Reece James is, he's not bigger than Chelsea Football Club. No player is bigger than Chelsea Football Club. And if we have to move on without them, then that's just what it is.
Yeah, that's the truth. Before I bring in Max, I want to quickly say thank you to CFC Canada for the follow back. And I want all my followers, if you're watching, please, I think I'm going to promote them even more. If you haven't, please go follow CFC Canada. Again, we're family here. And this is another Twitter account. I got this through Mikel from a DM message, and it was a retweet from CFC Canada, and I think we should all go follow them. We're all family here. So I'm going to try and bring in Max. Max, how are you doing today? And thank you for finding time to join again.
Yeah, hi. I'm literally here for about 2 or 3 minutes. Because I just wanted to come on just to address this situation with Reece James. I've heard you guys speaking, and basically, his situation and Christensen's situation are entirely different. Because
that's the truth.
If you guys remember, Christensen came here as a 15-year-old. He didn't start off as an 8-year-old here. And his dad has always been had itchy feet. His dad is his agent. And there was talk before where they said, if he doesn't get minutes, I'll move my son on. So there's never been that loyalty with Christensen. Although he's a youth product, he's not, like, as I said, a younger youth product. He came in later, so he hasn't really got any affiliation with Chelsea to that extent. With Reece James now, Reece James has been here since he's 7 years old. So, and he's English. Not many people from England have that connection with Real Madrid. It's only because obviously people get worried about when Real Madrid comes in, people go. You got to remember the type of profile who go to Real Madrid. They're mainly from South America, France, other European countries who find the appeal for Real Madrid. But with English players, how many have moved to Spain? Michael Owen. You got Gareth Bale, who was Welsh, and he moved from was it Cardiff or whatever club it was, to Tottenham. So he wasn't really a Tottenham born and bred. And so you scratch your head to think of many other English players, who go and play at Real Madrid. I know the trend is shifting now. You've got more English players moving abroad. You've seen a lot of them move to clubs like in Germany. But another reason is the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You'd have seen the situation with Eden Hazard, whose dream it was to play for Real Madrid. You'll see how that's gone sour for him.
Yeah, it's become a nightmare rather than a dream.
Exactly. Also, Real Madrid turn on their players at an instant. If you haven't had 2 or 3 good games in a row, they turn on you. Yeah, you saw that even with
But
Ronaldo.
quickly before we leave, I'd like you to address how you think if that is going to cause us a problem in terms of negotiation with on a contract renewal for James.
No, I don't think so. What would the only thing I think which would cause James to leave Chelsea is if the club starts they don't meet his ambitions. So we start to become also rans. We're not competitors for the Premier League. We're not involved in the biggest competitions. Reece James is the top best, arguably the best right back in the world at the minute. I'll say that much because he's so good. He's got the potential to be the best. He's got the potential to be the best in the world. Yeah, so he's gonna want to be competing for the top honours season in, season out. So if Chelsea stop competing for the top honours, that's when we've got a problem. I don't think it's more a money situation. He's happy where he is. Chelsea, the club, are giving him everything that he needs. So yeah, he's going to get a wage increase. He deserves that because his performances have proved that he deserves a wage increase. I don't think he's going to be greedy. He's just going to ask for what he's worth. I don't think it's going to be astronomical amounts of money. So I think he'll, as I said, it's just how the club are performing on the pitch, which will affect what his decisions are in the future.
Yeah, I appreciate that history there. And that's why I always like to have you. And I think I've learned why that it could be difficult for that to happen, given that English players don't look at the Madrid from that perspective, and he might not even consider it if it's a Premier League club. That I'd be really concerned. But thank you, Max. I appreciate you finding time to
Yeah, I've got
join.
to run now. I've got to go to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah,
Cheers, guys.
thank you. Bye.
All the best. And 2-1 Chelsea tonight. Yeah. 2-1 Chelsea.
I hope so. I hope that happens.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. So, Nick, coming to you, heard everything Max has said. Does that give you hope?
Yeah, look, for me, I can't see him going nowhere. I already said that. But, because it's football and nothing's impossible, that's what we're saying. But, like we said, Max just said it. He's more or less born in Chelsea, the guy. He loves Chelsea Football Club. The only way he might think differently, if in the future we don't perform like we should, then great players like he will be will start thinking. But, that's not going to happen. We're going to be challenging. As long as we have Tuchel, we're going to be up there. And Tuchel, he does love James. He loves all his players, Tuchel. That's a good thing about him. He makes the players love him and listen to him. He's a great team manager. Tuchel's unbelievable. No player is going to want to live under Tuchel. No one. Now, with Christensen's a different story. He's not like Reece James. Like Max just said, he came in when he was a lot older. He wasn't there when he was as young as James or Mount or any of these players. Yeah, that's all Ruben. Because they want him. That's normal. They can say, they can want him all the time, but he ain't going nowhere. Not right now. So, Coach, you should stop worrying about Reece James. Because
which is, again, that's why we're here. We just have to be factual because the truth is, I'm still concerned that's going to cause us a lot of problem in terms of negotiating with the guy. But I get your point. And again, now your final thoughts on everything we've talked about today.
Yeah, interesting chat. Thank you guys thank you, Coach, for having me. Nick, always good to hear you. I try and listen as much as possible, even when I can't be on. And it's great conversations. I think Chelsea right now, although we're in a weird place when it comes to the ownership of the club, I do believe that the remaining buyers are interested in keeping Chelsea as competitive as possible, and that's what makes me feel at ease with the transition of ownerships. I think tonight is going to be a tough match, and we need to be realistic about how we approach this match, but I do still think that Chelsea will win it. I think Reece James is staying no matter what. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for having me, and hopefully I'll be back on pretty soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Nick, your final thoughts on everything we'll talk today.
Yeah, well, it was very interesting chat. I also, now I know you make some great points. You do know football. Great points you made. Yeah, we have our differences sometimes, but that's what it's all about. We all have differences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
and
otherwise,
our commonality is that we love Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. The most important thing.
Yeah, of course. That's the way to think. We all Chelsea fans.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I said on this channel for so long, because it's a true Chelsea channel, not like some who say they're a Chelsea channel.
Nick, are you subscribed to Lionel's channel?
No, I didn't know he had a channel. Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, you have a YouTube channel, Lionel. There's so many now. Everyone has a channel. Yeah,
everyone has a channel.
Yeah. I will look into it, Lionel. Don't worry. Send me the link, Coach.
I will definitely. I will. Lionel is a great football mind, and I like he's always objective. Like I've explained, he's not into everybody is on bus B, so I'm getting on bus B. He looks at bus B and say, "This is nonsense. I'm not going in there." And he stays with bus A. Bus A. That's why I like him so much.
That's the way to be. Yeah, and all I can say, I'm really looking forward to tonight. I'm looking forward to beating Arsenal. It's a great feeling when we beat our rivals, Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham. All this lot. It's a great feeling, extra feeling than beating any other team, because it's been through the years since I began with Chelsea. It's always been a big, massive match against Arsenal. Since we were before, when we weren't so good, they were always better than us. I remember one time, we were winning 3-0, and they come back and beat us 5-3 at the Bridge years ago. I'm talking about. These rivalries, these games, extra special. There's an extra feel for it. It's just a shame we can't all be there. That's the only thing I don't like. All our fans, can't get there because of the sanctions. What can we do? Let's hope. I'm sure the ones who are going, they're going to be up extra special for it, because they know there ain't going to be a capacity crowd. They're going to make it feel like a capacity crowd. I'm sure. So
the good thing is that we're at home.
I just want to say this to whoever's going tonight: don't take your phones. Leave them at home and concentrate on cheering the team, because we need to win.
Yeah, we do need to win. Will you be there today?
No, I haven't got a ticket like everyone else, Coach.
Oh, okay.
Very hard. I'm a member, don't forget. The only ones with tickets are season ticket holders who have their tickets anyway. That's what it's going to be to the end of the season for the league games. I'm hoping I'll be at Wembley again. Hopefully, you have to pray for me to get a ticket.
No, you'll get one. You'll get one.
Yeah. I hope. I'll do. I'll never used to miss any Chelsea home or away game. For years and years and years till recently, when a couple of seasons, when I couldn't get tickets, because being a member doesn't guarantee you a ticket. I've just been lucky the last few games I managed to get them. Yeah, that's my final thoughts.
Well, thank you very much for that. And I want to say, Tragic TV, thank you for finding time to join. He says, well, that's one source, so that doesn't make it true. Yep, that's the truth. Plus, if you look at Hazard's injury record prior to joining Madrid, he started to pick up injuries. So great point there. And I appreciate you finding time to join us today. Although you're late, but they say lateness is greatness. And this is Michael Arthur says, hi guys, watching you from Ghana. Michael, I know this is your first time here. And if you haven't, please make sure to like the video and also Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That will go a long way for us. By the way, welcome to the channel. The Blue Morning Show is a daily show here on Chelsea Perspective. So I'd like to see you tomorrow, Mike. Hazard was basically the only player Madrid had consistent trouble injury-wise. Yep, that's the truth. Navas played for Madrid. Players like Hazard gets injured in the treatment and injury management. Yeah, I think they have a horrible medical team, if you ask me. I think we've established that before. That's Paul says, yep, that's the truth. Yes, I am aware Kilo played for Madrid, but as I said, just because he said something about, okay, this is an argument between what medical team is better than the other. With that, I say thank you to everybody in the chat from Tragic TV, True Blue, MacArthur, who just joined us. Again, Courtney, Phantom Courtney here. Fred, Feded Samuel, and also Just Viola. Everybody else, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you finding time to join. And Lionel, if you can wait, I want to talk with you for a bit backstage. With that, I say thank you to all of you. I appreciate you. See you guys tomorrow for another Blue Morning Show, and I hope our boys gets us a win today. Cheers.